Hello, it is Krystine Sherwood, the Beauty Pro coach. Here, I am your host on the Beauty Pro podcast. And today I have a very special guest, a fellow IPEC coach, such as myself. Her name is Molly Connolly. And she's going to be sharing with us a little bit about her, what she does, and just some insight for us beauty and barber pros who kind of struggle with relationships. So, how are you, Molly?
I'm fantastic. I love being here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here. So tell everybody a little bit about who you are, what you do, why we should know you.
Perfect. Well, like you said, my name is Molly Connolly. I am a dating and relationship coach specifically for ambitious women, helping them overcome self-sabotaging behaviors, mostly around like perfectionism, people pleasing, sometimes like making excuses for other people, and helping them get a healthy relationship with themselves. And that setting that foundation allows them to have a healthy relationship with a partner, whether that's current or potential. And my story, like how I got started with this, is a little bit different than most. It wasn't my first choice, ironically enough.
Mhm.
But as I decided, as I was going through coaching, I started pulling out the seed little by little. And when I really sat back to figure out what made me me, that I could contribute to other people, especially women, it was about all of the relationship drama that I have been through in my life. For example, I got married at age 28, or sorry, I got married at 25.
Okay.
And within a few years, I realized this person wasn't meant for me. And I found that out because one morning I woke up and had this gut instinct to check his phone because he had been up late the night before, kind of avoiding me when we were having friends over for a party. And when I checked his phone thinking something was really wrong with his mom or maybe another family member, I found other things. I found a text that said, "I really miss you. When do I get to see you again? I love you," all these things. And it wasn't just one woman. It was like 4 to 5 within a few hours, a few days.
Oh my
And
God.
I know. And so like as I stood there looking at his phone, he was in the shower and I didn't realize I was holding my breath. And he came out and I had put his phone away. I had to put on my poker face, pretend I didn't know anything, and let him go to work while I sat at home and I processed it.
Mm.
And later on, when I confronted him and I said, like, what did I do wrong? How did I screw up our relationship that you cheated on me? And he couldn't give me any reasons. And I said, let's go to couples therapy. Well, he's like, no, this is your problem for not accepting what happened. That this is just something we should sweep under the rug and pretend that it never happened in general. And I couldn't do that. So I went to couples therapy by myself.
Mhm.
And of course, it's not couples therapy when you go,
Right.
but I worked with this therapist so much that at some point she's like, I've given you every single thing. We worked through every single topic and nothing is changing. What are you going to do? So I left therapy and realized I needed to choose myself. So I filed for divorce and I didn't do the greatest thing right after that. I just jumped into the next relationship
Oh.
that became long-term and very toxic in a sense of like roller coaster, up and down emotions, fights, tons of drama with other people included. Got out of that relationship, ironically went into another one that was so similar. And I finally got tired of my own BS.
Mhm.
And I realized I was like, oh, well, my picker's been off. No, I'm the common denominator. I need to work on me. And so I took a break from dating, and I had never been single, to be honest. I had never taken that time to fully get to know me. And I was like, let's see, I think I was 35 at the time. And so I went to therapy for 13 months. I worked on things from my past, but they really didn't trigger anything that helped my relationships. So I read the self-help books. I got into coaching because of another coach. And when I was realizing through our experience of her coaching me on career, I was missing validation. And I was like, oh, that's exactly what I'm missing in my love life. Wait a minute. I'm missing the validation of giving myself love and acceptance and, that my worth is there. So I started working on that in order to find a partner. And 4 months before the world shut down, I met my now husband. And that was because I spent 3 years of fully going all in on me and putting myself first. And that's how I became a dating and relationship coach.
Oh my goodness. There is so much there. There's so much strength, first of all, to not just reach into the shower and like lose your mind.
Oh,
Okay.
trust me.
Like and it's like not one woman, but multiple women that you're seeing on the phone. Like that, those couple seconds must have felt like a whole lifetime. So, oh my gosh, so much strength there. Then the audacity to say, well, it's your problem. Let's just like forget about it. Um, I mean, so many things that you said, and then you just like keep going to the same relationship, and then you needed validation. So how is it that, first of all, how is it that we do that to ourselves, first of all? And second, like how are you getting validation at work versus you needing that in your relationships?
Yeah, great question.
Make sense? Okay.
No, wait, hold on. Now I'm thinking, what was the first question? Because now I'm like, there's so much.
I know. There's so much. There's so much. So just answer whatever whatever you
Um,
remember. I'll have to like rewind the recording and like I'll send it to you and you can just send it to me.
so the validation part.
Yeah.
Well, so in order to really figure this out, we receive validation all the time. We grew up with it, right? That was in
Yeah.
the educational school system. You got an A, B, whatever. You had a grade. And when you passed the grade, you got to move to the next level of school. Like those little things of validation. And the same thing applies for your career, right? Like you either get the promotion or you don't. You either make the money or you don't.
Mm.
And so those are different ways of validating our actions, our thoughts, our emotions, and everything that we've worked on. But giving that to ourselves is something that is so much harder to do because we don't see it. We're always expecting it happen externally versus internally. And I was just talking with a client about this too, about in order to like give yourself that validation, there's 4 areas that I believe that are all interconnected, and that's self-love, self-trust, self-worth, and self-care. And they all kind of feed on each other. And sometimes there's pieces that are a little bit lower than others, and there's ones we need to work on. But most of the time as women, we see the self-care as self-love, and we don't realize that we don't trust ourselves and we don't feel like we show our value or we have worth in our relationships, even with ourselves. So our self-trust and self-worth is very low.
Wow. Wow. I love those 4 points. Okay. I remembered the question. Why is it that we do that to ourselves? Like, why do we do this? Why do we constantly find the same guy essentially with a different face?
Okay. So the problem with us finding the same guy is that we think it's not us, number one, that it can't be us. It's that person. So we're going to jump to the next person. We don't take time to really reflect and analyze what happened in that relationship, as well as we're really looking to be loved. We feel like we're not enough without a person, or maybe we feel that there's something missing. One of the things that personally bothers me is when someone's like, I'm not enough without a partner, that I'm not whole or complete. And I'm like, no, you are the person who did X, Y, and Z on your own. You graduated high school or whatnot, and say like, that's what you did. No one else did that for you. A partner wasn't there. They might've been side by side with you doing it on their own, but no, you're a whole person. You always have been. And using something as that basic example and pulling that into your love life, you're never half a person in a relationship. You're always 2 people making a relationship work, hopefully.
Whoa. Okay. So now what is a common misconception or myth about what you do as a coach, as a woman in business?
A comment about what I do. There's a lot of things. Okay. So because I'm a dating and relationship coach, a lot of
Mhm.
people are like, oh, you're a matchmaker. No, I'm not a matchmaker. Not at all.
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to help you find your, next person in 90 days. I'm going to help you come back to yourself, because that is the part that accelerates finding the person that's actually at your level that maybe you already don't know you're at.
Mm-hmm.
So really getting in more, peeling back the layers of you, uncovering, the shoulds that you have, whether that's mom and dad told me I should do this, or this is how a relationship is supposed to look like, getting to figure out the truth about you and what your needs are, what your wants are, your desires in any area of your life, and how a partner is going to support you in that. Like I said, it's not 2 + 2 = whole. You want to have someone who is supportive of your goals, of what your visions are, not just for your business or as goals in your life, but as a person, what you value, what you desire to have, long term. And so sometimes I feel as women coming in with a dating relationship coach, they're just looking for that quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
They just want it so badly right now that they're not willing to take a moment and say, the person that you have to live with for the rest of your life is you. That's it. You're the person that you have to count on. So why not invest in you in order to have that partner come be the cherry on top of your like amazing Sunday?
Yeah. Sunday. That's cute. I like that. Yum. So this is so interesting because in my world, in the beauty and barber industry, so many hairdressers and barbers and estheticians and makeup artists, they really struggle with their family relationships, friends, romantic relationships. I can't even begin to tell you how many stories I've heard of like jealous boyfriends and husbands and all of this stuff. So just from that, what do you, I know that you're not in the beauty industry, but just hearing that, what do you think, just like right off the top of your head, is the problem or is the reason for that?
Well, it can really vary per
Mhm.
woman, but most of the time we stay in comfort zones and we stay in areas that we know well,
Mm.
right? So if we dated someone that's very similar from our past, we might find similar qualities that we like about that person. And then we might also find similar characteristics and qualities coming out at the same time. And what is very interesting is, I can't remember who it is says this quote, but like the people that we surround ourselves with is who we're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And, we are born into a family, and sometimes family members just, aren't healthy. They haven't worked on themselves either. And so it's learning, you can still be friends and connect with people, and you can still be family members, but it's learning how to separate yourself in a way that's healthy and still keep your dreams and what you're looking for. And then as for a partner,
Mm-hmm.
this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, because we're looking for love and we're exchanging love, intimacy and spending time together, wanting to have a person be around long term. But it really comes down to the issues that are really holding you back as a person, in general, as well as what the specific problems are. I can just speak for myself of like,
Mm-hmm.
when I mentioned those 2 past relationships,
Yeah.
both of those, and actually my ex-husband too, all 3 of those people had at least 1 DUI.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I can fix them. I can help them so much. And then they can see the potential in himself, and he can see the potential in our relationship, and then we'll be in love forever. No, that's a fantasy. You can
Yeah.
never change someone. They have to make the choice to, change on their own. And I really had to learn that the hard way. My last boyfriend before I found my now husband,
Mhm.
he also had a little bit of some health problems. And so he fell asleep at the wheel one night after only having 1 drink, and they thought he had a DUI. Or thought he had been drinking too much. So they gave him a DUI, and it was like his second or third. And I ended up having to drive him every single day, Monday through Friday, to work. I had to skip my workout to take him to work and pick him up. So I was also late to work. I also had to leave work early. And what does that do for me? It doesn't do anything great. It made my boss think less of me. I got less projects. I never got up for a promotion at the time. It really set me back because I wasn't willing to put the boundaries in place with myself of like, what am I really wanting in a relationship? Do I want to have to cater to someone who's, making choices like this, as well as, do I feel like I need to fix this person? Does this person, exhibit man-child-like tendencies?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to just step back and say, you know what? I can't help you. You have to find your own way. Like there's just so many different layers based off people's experiences and personalities. But I just wanted to put that one in there of like, that was something I knew later on that I made a mistake by trying to be a giver and try to fix and help at the same time.
No, that's really good. And the fact that you mentioned boundaries and setting those boundaries, that's like a huge buzzword, I guess, in the beauty and barber industry right now, because all these a lot of stylists are independent, they work for themselves, and they really have to put their professional, or as I like to call them, their business boundaries in place. But if we are not right outside of the salon, from behind the chair, if we're not right in our hearts and our minds at home, we're not going to be able to do that in the salon. And so hearing you say that, like, you really need to know what you want and who you are so you can essentially attract that, right? So
Exactly.
what kind of going back to your 4 points, it was the self-care, self-love, self-worth, and what was it?
Self-care, self-trust, self-worth, and self-love.
Self-trust. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about the self-trust, because that's a new one that I haven't heard about before.
So this one's really fun because ironically, I've been very passionate about it lately.
Oh, good. I love that.
In fact, I have an episode coming out about that like today.
Which, by the way, everybody, Molly has her own podcast, Reinventing the Arena. You got to go
and
check
you're
it
on
out.
it too, which I got to talk to you about that again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so double whammy, shameless plug. Okay.
So I feel like a lot of women, we are conditioned to second guess ourselves a lot. Oh, are you sure you want to do that job? Are you sure you want to wear that outfit? Are, constantly doubting and not going with our intuition, right?
Yeah.
And so when we also have moments where maybe we show up authentically and people play down like you who you are, or they say, oh, that's not how you should be. And so those, like I call them the shitty shoulds, overlap on top of that. It kind of pushes us into being who we're not. So then it even hurts us more because we're not able to trust ourselves because we don't even know who we are. So building self-trust can take a lot of time. And a lot of people I talk to as clients, they think it's when I do this or when I fix this area of my life, then I'll trust myself. When instead it's like taking a little bit of an action and seeing what's happening so that you can trust yourself. And I know that since we both went to IPEC, we both know the conversation between, truth and true. And so figuring out what's true for you versus what like maybe a universal truth. For an example, one that's not relationship related, just to make it a little bit more clear. I love candy corn. And my husband and I walked through Target last week and I was like, oh, I can't wait to have candy corn soon. And he's just like, but it's August. And I said, well, they're selling Halloween costumes. I'm going to have candy corn. So that's my truth, that I love it. A universal truth would be candy corn came out in like 1880. It was also called chicken feed. Like these are facts. That's the weird stuff, right? So people that are listening probably were like, ew, candy corn. That's their truth,
Right.
100%. And in a relationship, you start to figure out what's true for you by, really examining your past relationships, where you want to go in your relationship now moving forward, as well as maybe just getting into your core values and figuring out, from there, what do you believe is true and important for yourself, and what you actually value in a relationship too. So like one of mine is that I value honesty. Obviously for my ex-husband, that is a huge one.
Yeah.
So if you lie to me or break my trust, my past self would completely cut that person off. You would never be able to build trust with me. And instead, I have now had to approach trust in a whole new way and honesty in a sense by saying, okay, what is my body telling me? What is my intuition telling me? Why is this person giving me, making me feel anxious? Listening to what my body is saying about that and asking, is it intuition or is it fear? And having decipher between that, which also builds even more self-trust.
Mhm.
And over time, your intuition, your gut instinct is just going to come out even more. That allows you to make more efficient and effective decisions in your life and your love life in general.
Now that process is, I mean, you've been doing it for a while. So do you see yourself like you do that and it's like a seconds, like within seconds kind of thing? Or is it more of a hold on, I need like 5 minutes to myself to figure everything out?
It depends. If I'm really present in the moment, I can table that feeling and just try to engage normally or typically,
Mhm.
how I would with, just someone I casually have met. But at the same time, there's moments I feel like maybe you can relate to, is like it just goes over my head and I don't realize it
Yeah.
until later, where I'm like, okay, I've been anxious for the last few hours. What is that? Where'd that come from? I want to relax, and why can't I? Or
Mhm.
why can't I fall asleep right now? And going backwards and figuring out where that really started, to be like, oh, okay, it was this, or it
Mm.
was that person. Okay, what is that telling me? So
Yeah.
a lot of self-coaching for myself to help me get that moving.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I feel as creative people, we are wanting, I mean, and this could be for anybody too, but I know especially for creatives, like we want it now. That's why we
Mhm.
got into hair and makeup because it is an instant transformation. Let's go party, Barbie, like, so I'm happy to hear that. So what do you start telling women who work with you when they begin this self journey, this transformation in their lives?
Oh, well, I like to remind them that they're a unique individual. This process is going to be whatever they make of it. Like
Mm.
what you put into it is what you get out of it. That's just how it is with everything in life. And your path could be different than mine, and that's totally fine. Things are going to resonate for you that don't resonate with me, vice versa. And when we go through the transformation, it is a lot of like peeling back those layers of what you've been told, those shitty shoulds, all
Mhm.
those things, to get more to the core of you. And then we start figuring out what is you, like what makes you you. And from there, we build out further of what is your ideal relationship. So it's all still centered around you because, we are the main character in our movie. And sometimes as women, we like to make other people the main character, but we deserve to work on ourselves so that we can find the love that we're looking for.
Do you find that when women come to you and they're like they come to you for one thing and then they find out it's something totally different?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It
Uh,
happens a lot.
what are
So
some of the things that they come to you for and then they're like, "Oh, that's not it."
Oh, yeah. So I had a client, I've worked with her a few times, and the first time I had worked with her, she wanted to work on her boundaries with work
Mm.
and career. And then we slowly moved into, oh, she doesn't know what her values are and how that bothers her relationships.
Mhm.
So when we did that, she figured out one of her core values is connection. And, she went off and had a great time. Next thing you know, she comes back 2 years later and is like, I am so upset. I can't find a relationship because I can't find anyone who is aligned with my values.
Mm.
And so we wanted to work on her and figure out the qualities she wanted in a man.
Mhm.
And what we found out was that, she was really affected by her mom
Mm.
and the pressure her mom was putting on her to hurry up and get married and give her grandkids. That was something that still bothers her to this day. She and her sister, twin sister, ironically, um, aren't 100% in committed relationships. So what would make them, what would the mom want, out of that? It's just like, hurry up and get married. I want babies.
Mhm.
when we discussed it, it's just, her mom is projecting her desires, her wants, and her own life onto them because the mom got married and had kids at 22. So a lot of these family expectations are so deep and we don't even know it, which is part of the peeling back part. That is part of the reason why maybe we don't feel connected or we don't feel loved or we can't find a partner, because deep down and maybe even just in the background, we hear our mom saying, hurry up and get married and have babies. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's how that people come from one thing. And yes, there's always something else.
It's like a rebellion almost.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that sounds fun.
like, oh yeah. And we act it out, like, oh, you want babies? Yeah. Okay, great. You're not gonna have any, you're gonna have dogs.
Fur babies. You were not specific.
Right, fur babies. So that's so yeah, we do that for sure. Okay, so when a woman comes to you, what is a trait or a strength that she would need to really I guess have to begin this journey with you?
I think there's a few things, to be honest.
Okay.
Wanting to do the inner work. There's some women, like I said, that just want to come and hurry up and find their husband. And I'm like, I'm not the woman for you. Because the hurrying up is going to lead you to a very surface level relationship that you are going to be unhappy in and divorced or whatever in 5 years or whatnot, I'm in for it with women who are like, I'm fed up with my life. I'm fed up with, what's going on and I need to make a change. And I want to start with me. With that said, I challenge my clients a lot, but I'm so loyal.
Yeah.
So like when that client talked to me about her mom, I was like instantly in the mode of being like, we need to find a way for you to set a boundary with your mom in a way that really clearly states that this is your life and your life only. And she's also a character in your life. She's not the main character and she cannot push and pull on you. You are an adult. You are not a child anymore. You are allowed to have your own life. And, some people that's like, oh my God. And other people are like, yes. And so I work with the people that are like, yes, I need to go all in for me, whether that, disappoints other people or, hurts other people's feelings sometimes because I put up a boundary or not. I got to go in all in for me. So I'm supportive and accountable and a cheerleader in that way, but I'm also going to challenge you when there's things that you need to have change so that you can become the person and have the love that you want.
I love that. So I did check out your website just before our call. And I saw a couple things that you have on there.
Yes.
Please share with everybody what you offer your clients and how, just talk about your website. Like there are certain things on there that I know what I'm talking about that need to be shared.
Yes. Well, first of all, I do offer one-on-one coaching. So if people really do want to do one-on-one, that's a possibility. I do everything from 3, 6 to 12 months. It all depends on where you're at and where your goals are. As you know, as a coach, 3 months is really difficult to get a lot of change in. That's a lot of work to try to accelerate a process because what we work on with our clients, it's life-changing, which means this is a long-lasting transformation. So it can take a lot longer to do. With that said, pretty soon in the fall, I'm going to be offering Voxer coaching again, which is like a one-off, one day, try to coach you on some small stuff. And then I also have strategy session where we sit down and we take one area of your love life and we figure out how to help you move forward, but it's only 90 minutes and then it's all on you to take that action afterwards. Cool. Right now, I am preparing for my 8-week group coaching program. It's going to start September 18th. It's called Building Love Inside and Out. And so it's an 8-week group coaching course where we have a lesson where one part of my framework starts on like Tuesday and then you work through it. And we have a group coaching call on a Thursday. I help hold you accountable. I help you work through things individually in the group coach program. And you get 2 coaching calls one-on-one with me further into the program. So basically we work through the beginning of unpeeling those layers, challenging your limiting beliefs, assumptions, interpretations, going through dating and relationship myths that are kind of holding you back, looking at your self-sabotaging behaviors that are keeping you stuck in the dating patterns that you're in. And then really getting into those 4 of self-care, self-love, self-trust, self-worth, a whole week about building boundaries. And then even getting into why we need the self-trust and self-worth and building that intuition so you can have confidence and feel content as who you are as a person, so that when you go to date, you make effective decisions. And when those effective decisions, you know that this person is right or wrong for you, like quick. You don't have to date them for fun for like 3 months or even 2 weeks. You know in your gut that this person is or is not right for you.
What about your little Quizlet?
Oh, my quiz.
Your
Oh,
Quizlet. Yes.
so my quiz is super fun. This was great. So it's a 16 question quiz, which most people are like, that's too long. I'm like, no, this is on purpose. So it's a 16 question quiz that's going to walk you through different dating experiences. And it's going to help you at the end figure out what your self-sabotaging behavior is. And then you'll receive an email from me with even more in-depth information about your self-sabotaging behaviors. So
that's cool. And it's free, right? They can just
it's
go on
that the quiz is free. You'll also be added to my email list. And on Monday through Friday, I send out what I like to call lady love lessons. And so it's like a 1 or 2 sentence, either to remind yourself that you're worthy, your trust, you know, you value yourself. Or it could also be, depending if I'm really feisty, like it could be a way to just be like, oh, that man's not right for me. Like you just listen to this little, or listen, you get to read this little part into an email of he's not worth your time if he does X, Y, and Z. Or you're more worthy of a, 2 a.m. phone call,
Oh,
know?
I love it. I'm going to go take it too. I'm going to go take the quiz too. I love taking these little quizzes, personal development stuff. It's just, it keeps you sharp. It keeps you ready to even go to work and deal with other people every day, if that makes sense, So
Totally.
where can people like contact you and reach out to like to work with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. That's my favorite place to be, at Reinventing the Arena. Also my website, if you want to check that out, is reinventingthearena.com. And just like you mentioned earlier, I have a podcast, Reinventing the Arena. So I cover everything that we basically have discussed here in different ways. And then I have savvy and super fun guests, just like Krystine, on my show. So it's really good time. I cannot wait to bring out the guests that I have that are coming up this fall and winter. So
I'm so excited.
yes.
Really quickly, because I don't know, time is flying by. What is the question that you wish I would have asked, and how would you have answered?
Oh my God, I don't know. I really don't know. You asked a lot of great questions.
Okay.
There really wasn't one that I could think of.
Okay, good.
You covered a variety of areas. So
that makes me happy. It was really just a test. It just really wanted an ego boost.
You're like, I want feedback and I want it now.
Yeah. Well, Molly, thank you so much for coming on. This was really good. I love learning. I love hearing about this area, especially for us women who are like so busy all the time,
Yeah.
And so I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you. And I think that a lot of our listeners are going to really love this.
Oh, thank you. I really hope they do, and that they're able to make that time for themselves and really, really be able to set boundaries, love themselves even more. I really appreciate being here and making a difference with your audience.
Thank you. Until next time, talk to you later.
Bye.